In the middle of the North Atlantic, where the churning grey veins of the ocean meet the screaming winds of the Arctic, there lies an island that should not exist. It is a land of contradictions so fierce they seem to vibrate in the very air. A place where the Earth's ribcage is pulled open by tectonic plates, spilling molten blood onto plains of ancient ice. This is Iceland, the land of fire and ice. A realm where the veil between the seen and the unseen has always been thin. To tell the story of Iceland is not merely to recite a timeline of kings and volcanic eruptions. It is to speak of a 1,000-year conversation between a stubborn people and a landscape that never wanted them there. Before there were men, there was the rift. Millions of years ago, deep beneath the ocean floor, the North American and Eurasian plates began a slow, agonizing divorce. As they pulled apart, the Earth's mantle groaned, and a hot spot of rising magma began to build an altar in the sea. This was the birth of Iceland, a geological infant in a world of ancient continents. It rose from the waves in a fury of steam and basalt, shaped by the mid-Atlantic ridge. The land was forged in darkness. Volcanoes like Katla, Hekla, and Askja built the mountains, while the sky responded with ice. Great glaciers, Vatnajökull, Langjökull, and Hofsjökull crept over the volcanic plateaus, grinding the rock into fine black sand and carving the deep, jagged fjords of the west. For eons, the only voices were the roar of the wind, the thunder of carving icebergs, and the hiss of steam from the geysers. Then the birds came. Arctic terns, puffins, and ravens found sanctuary on the basalt cliffs. But for the human world, Iceland remained a ghost, a legend whispered in the south of a land called Thule, where the sun never sets in summer and the sea turns to ice. The official history begins with smoke. Around the year 874 AD, a Norse chieftain named Ingolf Arnarsson stood on the deck of his longship. He was a man fleeing the tightening grip of King Harald Fairhair of Norway, looking for a place where a free man could breathe. As the jagged coastline of Iceland appeared through the mist, Ingolf performed an ancient rite. He threw his Öndvegisjúlur, his sacred throne pillars, into the sea, vowing to settle wherever the gods washed them ashore. For 3 years, his slaves searched the coast, while Ingolf wintered in the south. Finally, they found the pillars in a bay characterized by rising steam from geothermal vents. He named the place Reykjavík, the Bay of Smokes. But the Norse were not truly the first. The Landnámabók, the Book of Settlements, and the Icelandingabók, the Book of Icelanders, whisper of the Papa, Irish monks who had sought the ultimate solitude of the North Atlantic. These culdees left behind bells, books, and crosses, fleeing as soon as the heathen Vikings arrived, leaving the island to the Norse and the Celtic women they brought, often by force from the British Isles. This genetic cocktail fierce ambition of the Viking and the mystical, melancholic spirit of the Celt would define the Icelandic soul. They were a people who looked at a glacier and saw a god, who looked at a lava field and saw a hidden city. The settlers did not bring a king, they brought a law. In 930 AD, they established the Alþingi at Þingvellir, a natural amphitheatre where the tectonic plates actually meet. It was the world's first parliament. Here, in the shadow of the Almannagar Fault, they settled feuds, traded news, and recited the law. But the law was often a fragile thing. The age of the sagas was a time of epic feuds and staggering heroism. These stories, later written down on calfskin in the 15th century, are the crown jewels of Icelandic culture. For a few centuries, Iceland flourished, but the Golden Age was destined to end. In the year 1262, the island lost its independence to Norway and later to Denmark. Then came the climate. The Little Ice Age descended, turning the green valleys into frozen wastes. Nature, which had always been a harsh mistress, became a killer. In 1783, the Laki eruption began. It was not a single blast, but a series of fissures that bled poison for 8 months. The mist hardships followed. A toxic haze settled over the island, killing the livestock and causing a famine that wiped out a quarter of the population. The ash reached as far as Europe, contributing to the crop failures that sparked the French Revolution. Icelanders lived in turf houses, low, grass-roofed dwellings that huddled into the earth for warmth. They lived on dried fish and moss. Their only solace, the curled vaka, the evening wake. In the dim light of a whale oil lamp, while the wind screamed outside, families would card wool and knit, while what person read the sagas or sang the epic poems. This literacy born of necessity and darkness is why Iceland today has more writers per capita than anywhere else on Earth. The 20th century dragged Iceland into the modern world with startling speed. Independence from Denmark came in 1944, celebrated at Þingvellir, where the story began. The discovery of geothermal energy transformed the nation, one of the poorest in Europe, to one of the most prosperous. They stopped burning coal and started tapping into the fire beneath their feet. Today, Reykjavík is a vibrant, neon-lit hub of art and music. It is the home of Björk and Sigur Rós, artists whose music sounds like the landscape itself. Ethereal, haunting, and explosive. The Blue Lagoon, a milky blue geothermal spa carved into a black lava field, has become a global icon, representing the harmony of industry and nature. But the old gods haven't left. In 2010, the volcano Eyjafjallajökull erupted, its ash cloud grounding flights across Europe and reminding the world that this small island still holds the power to stop the gears of modern society. In the last few years, the Reykjavík Peninsula, which had been dormant for 800 years, has awakened, with new fissures opening near Grindavík, forcing evacuations and painting the night sky orange. If you stand at the edge of the Dyrhólaey cliffs in the south, you see the story of Iceland in a single glance. Below you, the Atlantic waves, same ones that carried the Viking longships, crash against the black sand. To your left, the Reynistranga sea stacks stand like petrified trolls caught by the sun. Behind you, the Mýrdalsjökull glacier hides the sleeping giant Katla. The story of Iceland is a story of perseverance. It is the story of a people who learned to find beauty in the blue hour of winter, who turned their tragedies into poetry, and who realized that they do not own the land, they are merely its guests. As the sun dips toward the horizon in a 5-hour sunset, casting long, purple shadows over the lava fields, you realize that the sagas aren't over. They are still being written in the shifting glaciers, the rising steam, and the ink of the poets. Iceland remains what it has always been, a laboratory of creation, a fortress of memory, and a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit in the face of the sublime.